You're watching TVC Breakfast. The All Progressives Congress secured nearly 367,000 votes, achieving victory in all 18 local government areas of Ondo State. The newly elected governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who is now serving a second term, has been officially announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. A coalition of civil society organizations has commended the people of Ondo State for their peaceful conduct during the election across all local government areas. They also praised INEC for its excellent performance in managing the election process. Joining us for this discussion are two election observers during the Ondo election. Talk about Nelson Ekujimi as well as Razak Olokoba. They are both joining me via Zoom from Ondo State. Well, it's good to have you both on TVC Breakfast. Let me start with you, Nelson Ekujimi. As an observer in the just concluded election, where Lucky Aiyedatiwa has now been returned as the governor of Ondo State for the next 4 years, what were the preparations like in terms of INEC, and how did it go based on what you saw on the ground?
Thank you very much. I'm speaking to you from Igokoda in Ilaje local government. Surprisingly, on Saturday, 16th of November, a lot of us woke up. We're still waiting to take our before setting out to perform the function of a. Lo and behold, about 6:45 a.m., I woke up and I saw INEC policemen already setting up the cubicle, and I was like, did these people sleep? So from reports one gathered from the state, by 7 a.m., 7:20 a.m., INEC was already most important polling stations. And by 8:30, election commenced with the use of materials, and we saw security personnel on ground. Also, one interesting thing was, because I've been in those states for the past 1 week, you only saw police patrol on the roads, maybe being deployed to their locations where they will perform their security duties. But we saw that everywhere you could feel the presence of security to give you the needed confidence to come out and vote that, look, this is not a day that the bad boys will have a free rein. So looking at the conduct of INEC in this election, the conduct of INEC was very, very excellent. INEC, they came very early. The Beavers machine functioned optimally. The INEC showed good understanding of the materials that came in. We also saw a situation where few of most polling stations will make an announcement that, look, we want to give preference to the aged, to those who are PW, to the pregnant women or women with children. And surprisingly, everybody, complied that, okay, it's true. Let us give these people special preference or privilege to perform their own day. We that are still young will come back and do. Yeah. We'll wait on the line and do us.
Right.
In some places, the voters. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Ekujimi, yes, I just wanted to get your. We can hear you. I just wanted to get your opening salvo in this conversation. Let me go to Razak Olokoba to also get his own opening remark, regarding this conversation review of the just completed election. Mr. Olokoba, if you can hear me.
Very well.
Yes. So, what is your own review? What was the high points of this election for you during the process of this, this election?
Thank you very much for having me. We were there before the election as expected to prepare the ground to be able to do our work. I was in Okechukwu axis, not far away from where it is. And it's because that was where we were assigned to do our work. Security presence made it possible for people to have confidence that all will be well on the day of election. But there are other things that I also noticed, which is that the political consciousness of Nigerians is increasing on a daily basis. You don't need it to be told the correlation between democracy and prosperity. Nigerians got that message. And that was why every election in Nigeria today is becoming more peaceful. If you look at Edo, and you look at this election, and the election before Edo, you will establish a trait in it, which is that people are willing to elect their leaders. Of course, there are other things that played a role in ensuring that we had a peaceful election. And INEC did a very marvelous job. And like I've been telling people, that INEC is an institution that all of us must support to be able to do their work better. That support is important. And that is the reason why more and more people get registered for vote. Over 100 people have registered. Million in Nigeria today to vote. That's a very huge number. And two institutions that are central to this process, which is the INEC and the police, I have understood them better now that as the day passes by, they are getting a grip of what their role and responsibility should be. You see police officers before, let's say 10, 15 years ago, on the day of election, they do a lot of things that have nothing to do with the electoral process. But in the last 10 years, downward where to today, you will discover that professionalism, integrity, and commitment to securing the life of Nigerians and voters and electoral process on the day of election is getting better.
That's right.
So for INEC as well too, they don't have the challenge of material.
Right.
How to do it? They now know how to do it more better than before. Maybe they do it the holiday a week before, but it will end without any issues, and that is what we want.
All right. All right.
What they did in the last election.
Razak, your point is noted. If you can hear me, let's quickly go to Nelson. From what we've seen and from what you both have said, INEC seemed quite ready for this election. And also, the election was quite inclusive, from what you've also mentioned. But let's talk about how effective voter education, voter participation was in this election. Did it seem as though the people were adequately informed about the voting process and their rights in this election?
Absolutely. If you observe the election across the 18 local governments, you recognize that, like we always say, that every politics is good. There were local sentiments driving the interest of the voters in selection, and that played out with how the results panned out. The thing of the electorate was top-notch, I must confess to you, because you had situations whereby early in the morning, the beavers machine was having difficulty in capturing people in some places. And not as that, people provided chairs for the agent who are challenging to the beavers to sit down and say, okay, if you are having difficulties accessing your identification with the identification mechanism, hold on.
Okay, Mr. Kujimi, I understand that we're having a connectivity issue with him.
I'm back.
Okay,
I'm back.
All right, carry on quickly.
Yes, where people had issues in being assessed with the identification mechanism, we saw situations where those on the queue were patient enough to say, okay, just stay by this side, and nobody raised an eyebrow, even including the person who had that problem. He waited so that the time that each voter would spend being accredited and being given the ballot paper to cast, we saw a situation where each voter was spending between 3 to 4 minutes. You are off the queue and you are off your own. You are to your own. So the people showed a very good understanding of the voting process. And the local sentiments also played a large part in the way they turn out in some of those cases. But by and large, it was a very, very peaceful election. And we must give kudos to those who made this possible.
All right, Mr. Olukoba, well, Mr. Nelson also said something like, he agreed that it's quite peaceful election. But you also said something, regarding the people, the electorate, that, they were orderly, they came out, but some also reported voter apathy because many people were expected to come out as against those that actually come out in the first place. Do you think this election went the way it went due to the fact that, it was very clear, maybe it was clear to some people that the incumbent governor would be returned elected as we expected. So if we had parties, vested interest, then we would probably have, recorded violence in that of the Rivers election, which has even been challenged, to start with, saying that we are not, don't expect allocation from.
Rivers.
Okay, I understand Mr. Olokoba is back. Well, it was really much of a hassle. Mr. Razak Olokoba, thanks so much for joining us to, reconnect with you. Let's take it from where we left off. And I will also want you to quickly react to the fact that the collation of results, was done overnight, and others were like, come on, we should have suspended this into the morning. I mean, yeah, sometime in the morning, where everyone to be in the full glare of the public. What's your assessment of that? Do you think collation should start as soon as the results are uploaded on IREV and then received at the headquarters of INEC?
That's the best thing. It's a continuous process. And political class has everything to cling to once they do selection. If you say people should come back the next day, they will say it's been tampered with. But if you are going to vote or to observe or to be an agent in the process, you should know that you must give your 72 hours away for sleep. You won't be able to sleep for 3 days. So before election starts, a day before election starts, your party will brief you. Then you move straight. You may not move from your house. You are going to move from your maybe party secretariat early in the morning to the voting center. And you are going to stay there until the exercise ends. Then you move in stages from polling booth until you get to the INEC headquarters. So the will-be officer that's supposed to enter the collation room will be there. And nobody is advised to leave until the exercise is over. So for me, it is not a night time when 7 o'clock or 9 p.m., 10 p.m. is on the day of election. It's the day, the beginning of the day. 8 to 1 a.m. is the beginning of the day. It's fine. It is afternoon or morning on such a day. So you will be taking a risk if you say, let's come back to go and refresh and come back again. Politicians don't trust each other. And more so, we are just building, just like you have said in the Rivers election. It is not only because those parties don't pass.
Right. I think the network has, done its thing again.
Right.
But it's actually an ongoing conversation. It's something that, we're still having, discussants in the studio who will definitely join us, to have much conversation on this. Mr. Razak, could you, wrap on your thoughts? Or Olamide, you have a question for him quickly.
Right. I was going to ask him about the political climate he met when he, arrived in Ondo to observe the election and what we have, what we have now. And what were the major factors that determined the outcome of this election, especially when you look at how wide the margin was in terms of results?
You see, there were apprehension before we got to those states. But when we got there, it was a different result. In fact, our family members. In the election, we learned that Ondo was going to be violent. But when we got there was no preparation for anybody because you see a glimpse of what is going to happen tomorrow, eve of election. But we didn't see the eve of election. People preparing to disrupt the election, comment of people, you will know these guys are not going to be violent on the day of election. But we didn't see all those things. And we thought that, okay, maybe it's obscure. The preparation to come and destroy it was obscure. Let's see what's going to happen on the day of election. But election came and it went. And I'm going to happen it again. It is not because of any other thing. Nigerians are no longer willing to die for any politicians again. They just want to exercise their vote and go back home and expect the result. In Ondo, I have looked at the body language of the PDP.
Well, Mr. Razak Olokoba, we must thank you for your time. It's been much of a hassle to, having this connection, going. But then, I tell you, our viewers at home, we have this conversation, immediately after this break. Do stay with us. Loke Aiyedatiwa has been re-elected as the governor of Ondo State for another 4 years. Join us after the break as we discuss the just concluded election in the state. Just stay with us.